Hey guys, so one of the problems that I have is that my standards go up and up and up and up until I stop making content. And it's like this slope that happens over time. And then I'm like, oh man, I'm just not doing anything that I want to be doing because I want to make this content for you. So I like punch my standards back down and then it just starts creeping up over time again. So here we are. We're outside of the studio. I've got a website I want to talk to you guys about, and we're just going to sit here and we're going to do it. So check this out. Today, we have the Los Angeles Times recently made this little tool on their website. It's pretty interesting. Called it's almost like a mini game. You've been arrested by a dishonest cop. Can you win in a system set up to protect officers? Now, I think most of us kind of understand the situation is, even if you're innocent, you never want to be caught in this legal system, right? I think we get that. I think most people get that. But I don't think we quite understand what that means. We don't. This does a really good job of putting you in that headspace and putting you in that place where you're making decisions that literally give and take and risk literal bits of your lifespan. Most of us are not ever in a place where we're making a plan or we're taking a risk that it is paid for instead of money. Like most of the time you think of opportunity cost in business or whatnot, you're going to risk money, you're going to risk time, or you're going to risk an opportunity in the market to try and achieve a better goal, whatever your goal is, making money or growing your business or growing your customer base, whatever. But the currency that you pay for is never, it is your lifespan in that, you're going to be working on something for X amount of time, but it's not like your lifespan in a direct sense, like you're just going to take your life and you're going to stop doing everything. And you're just going to literally take that lifespan and pay for and risk it on something. And that's where you sit. And that's the situation you're in when you're dealing with cops and the law and the legal system. And this does a good job of kind of teaching that, or bringing it like front and center and making you feel it and realize it before you're actually in the situation. Okay, so I think this thing got started because 2 years ago, Officer Smith was caught lying on an arrest report. He was suspended, but he kept his job. His misconduct remained secret due to California's strict laws that protect officer personnel records. And so the objective of this game is to help prove your innocence by showing that the cop has a history of lying. So the premise of the game is that we know the cop has a history of lying, which is just one of the most evil things I can imagine in the world, is because of how much trust and deference are automatically afforded to cops. Whatever a cop says, they're a friend of the court's going to believe them over you. And so when they lie, yeah, you got it. All right, so we're going to begin. And this is based on a real thing, multiple real things that have happened. Okay, one day, Officer Smith takes you into custody for resisting arrest. There are no other witnesses. You are innocent. You're put in jail and do not have money for bail. What do you do? Plead not guilty because you did nothing wrong. Plead guilty because you don't want a long court battle while stuck in jail. And this is interesting. As we play the game, at the bottom we see that we've spent 2 days in jail so far. So we're not guilty. If we plead guilty, there's going to be jail time. There's going to be, everyone's going to think we did whatever it was. We're not guilty, right? It's the right thing to do. So we're going to plead not guilty. Well, Officer Smith is lying in your case, so maybe he's lied in the past. To find out, you could ask the judge to look at Smith's personnel files through what's known as a pitches motion. The objective is to take a chance and file a pitches motion to find someone to testify against Officer Smith's integrity. So we have two options. File the pitches motion. Odds are good. 30 days. Do not file the pitches motion. Head to trial in 90 days. Okay, so we can head to trial with basically our word against his. Trial will happen in 90 days. Or we can, file this motion and spend 30 days of our life. Okay, so we are at step 2. We've made basically 2 decisions. We've decided to stand up for our rightful innocence, and we've decided to check into the cop's background to see if other people have filed any complaints about him before. And we have already paid the price, the very real, visceral price of 32 days of our lifespan into this system. The system has stolen 32 days of our actual lifespan. The lifetime has just been sitting in a cage, waiting. The judge grants your motion and reviews the officer's personnel file behind closed doors with an attorney representing the law enforcement agency. The judge gives you only the names and contact information of people who complained about the officer. She orders you to keep the information within your legal team. So at this point, we hire an investigator to track down people who made complaints about Officer Smith. All right, here we are. Who do you want to track down? So we get 4 names. Well, let's just start at the top of the list. Rachel. Okay, that took us 3 days. After a few days, your investigator finds Rachel, who says that Officer Smith arrested her a few years ago and falsified the arrest report. She's willing to testify, but she's currently in jail for drug possession, another victimless crime. Your attorney worries a jury will find Officer Smith more credible than Rachel. So I guess we can take a plea deal, stop right now, plead guilty, and get out. We can ask Rachel to testify in 90 days and risk it with Rachel. We can not ask her to testify and go to trial, just again, our word against theirs, or we can try another person on the list. Okay, so let's do Donna. It takes us 1 day to find Donna. But she's an officer who works alongside Smith. She won't disclose the details of the complaint she filed against him and declines to talk to the investigator. The officer's misconduct remains secret. So we basically got nothing. Let's move on down the list. We got Leon. It takes us 5 days to find out that the contact information for Leon is out of date and your investigator can't find him. So we move on to the next person on the list, or we file a supplemental pitches motion requesting additional information that they didn't give us the first time. Keep in mind, we have already literally lost 41 days of our life. It's been stolen. I shouldn't say lost. It has been stolen by the state at this point. So you see, now we have a decision to make. Do we literally pay another 30-day motion, 30 more days of our lifespan, on the chance that we get a little bit more information about this one person so that we might find somebody that could help us with our case? I mean, in this case, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say, okay, well, we don't want to risk 30 days of my life. Let's move on down the list. So we're still at 41 days. Let's talk to Mike. After a couple days, your investigator finds Mike on Facebook. He says Officer Smith once unlawfully searched his car and falsely arrested him. Mike is willing to testify, but will the jury believe him? All right, so we could stop here, go to trial on our own, take a plea deal, or we could ask Mike to testify and go to trial. So let's do that. I think we're ready to proceed. We ask Mike to testify. So it took 90 days from the point we made that decision to stop our investigation to proceed to trial. We have had 136 days of our actual lifespan stolen from us. Luckily, Mike turns out to be a credible witness, and he convinces the jury that the officer was lying in your case, and you get acquitted. Oh, but you've lost your job because you disappeared for 136 days. Job gone. Officer Smith, he continues to patrol. He's still a cop. His misconduct is kept secret by the state of California. It says you made the rare decision to file a pitches motion and see it through to the trial. But the next person who encounters Smith will have to go through the entire process again, because all that information that you found, all the people you talked to, that has to stay with you and your lawyer. The other thing that this didn't mention, and I kind of wish it had, was the costs involved. Every time you take an additional step and every time your lawyer does anything, even answering a phone, your bill goes up. So not only are you paying with your actual lifespan, but you are going into debt, or you're running up a giant bill with your lawyer. And I have to assume that the reason why it's a rare decision to file this motion is because we had to pay a lawyer for 2 months of his time, a month of his time, and probably some personal investigators to find the people and locate the people, and then we had to meet with our lawyer and ask the people to discuss it with us. And this all costs massive amounts of money just to prove our innocence. And when we win, when we prove to the world that we're innocent, when we are declared innocent, none of these people pay us back. They don't pay us back. They don't pay for their crimes. They don't pay our lawyers' bills. They don't even attempt to make restitution for the literal theft and destruction of our time alive in the universe. This is a problem. This is not a justice system. This is an injustice system.